Yo, what is up, guys? What is up? Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Man, Landy already the first one in today. Landy the first one in, last one out. Welcome, guys. I see people are coming in. Viewer numbers are going up. Cool. We'll let people come in here. We'll get this situated. Let me pull up Trading View while we're chilling here. Where's Trading View? Bam. All right. Trading View is. Okay. We'll have that ready. Cool. Guys, welcome. Welcome back to Wolf Bitcoin. Welcome back to another one of these live sessions where we talk about Bitcoin, crypto, general market analysis. We look at these charts. We draw some squiggles. You know, we do everything that the maxis frown upon here. Now, look, in all seriousness, look, I think there's a good balance of trader talk and macro talk coming out of the Wolf Bitcoin Eco. But yeah, around these parts, young fella, you know, we focus on the TA, we focus on the chart analysis. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna deep dive into these crypto charts. That's what we do. We like to look at the technicals. We like to talk about trade ideas, market moves. We like to talk about levels, structure, all of that good stuff. So anyways, if that's your type of vibe, if that's what you like, if you enjoy talking up the charts, you know, talking about these horizontals and the verticals and the volume and the profiles and the oscillators and the sessions and all that stuff, make sure you give this stream a like, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you're following Wolf Bitcoin. If you want to follow me, you can follow me at Bits of Wealth. If you want to look us up on YouTube, you can find Wolf Bitcoin on the YouTube side. If you're watching on X, you can find me at Bits of Wealth Crypto on the YouTube side. If you're watching on X, but we do mostly live on X. But we're trying to branch out. We're trying to grow the YouTube side. Shout out to Public, the show sponsor. Check them out, public.com/wolf, where you can go and turn basically any idea into a strategy for your portfolio with AI. It's a new age. It's a new age, people. It's a new age here. You know, we're in the age of intelligence. No longer the information age. It's not the industrial age. It's the age of intelligence. Something like that. At least that's what I was reading about. Age of intelligence. But look, I mean, I think if you're someone who takes investing seriously, you probably want to leverage tools like AI. So if you want to explore that, if you want to see what you can build with some agentic options and solutions, you probably owe it to yourself to go to public.com/wolf and take a look at the options that are available there, the tools that you can leverage across, you know, thousands of stocks and indices and crypto and bonds and treasuries and all of that. Go check it out. Go check them out and see if it's a right fit for you. If you've been looking to switch it up a little bit, maybe the brokerage you're using is just stuck in the past. It's not evolving. It's not growing. You want something a little more forward-looking, forward-thinking. Check it out. Public.com/wolf. Checking these comments here. This is some good stuff. But yeah, guys, as you're coming in, I appreciate a quick like, a thumbs up, a comment, some chat engagement, a repost. Help us spread the word about these shows, about these streams that we like to do here. If you want to see more of it, you know, help us out. Yo, looking at Bitcoin, looking at the corn here, getting a little bit of a bounce. I mean, big move down last week. Took that Feb low. Definitely took that Feb low, which was the quarterly low. Cleaned up. Couldn't get a daily close below that though. Didn't get the weekly close below it either. And it looked pretty good. Did we get a 12-hour close below there? We did not. Did we get an 8-hour close below there? We did not. Did we get a 6-hour close below that level? We did not. Did we get a 4-hour close below that level? We did not. Did we get a 2-hour close below that level? We did not. What about the 1 hour? Okay. So the 1 hour closed below it. Immediately in the subsequent hour, took it back and closed back above. So this was nothing. I mean, if we're just reading it for what it is, this was nothing but a failed attempt at a move lower here, right? It's a slight little deviation that was immediately resolved to the upside immediately. And when another attempt was made, it could not get another close. Could not get a follow-up close below that level. So this Feb level is the level to watch right now. That previous quarter low, that 60,000 flat level. We really don't want to see a close below 60K at this point. Even if this rejects here, even if this is just coming out for a rejection and there's another leg lower, you really don't want to see a close below there. Ideally, if it sweeps, it needs to be fast. Preferably, it doesn't even go that far down anymore here. This looks pretty good. I mean, essentially anything above a 1 hour time frame, you did not get any sort of real acceptance below 60K. It was a temporary, momentary flash in the pan move below. That's all it was. There's no acceptance below there. None as of right now. Absolutely none. Cry me a river, you bears. Cry me a river, you bears. But you've got nothing. You've got absolutely nothing. Now, that doesn't mean that's going to hold forever. But look, we were tossing this idea around yesterday on this stream. If you were here yesterday, we tossed an idea around yesterday, which I believe may have been this one. Okay. God, that is played out so beautifully. This is played out so beautifully. Okay, so this was the idea that we were looking at yesterday, which was that this was an initial move down and the left side of a potential W, and that we would have another move down during the overnight into US to put in the right side of the dub. So far, this is looking pretty spot on. So, look, following up on this, I mean, this is so far, it's right there. All we need now is, look, even if there is a rejection, ideally, again, you don't want to put in a lower low. You want to hold above 60K, which is that Feb low or the previous quarter low. So even if there is another move down, it needs to be quick. And ideally, you want to see an impulsive move on volume. We're going to need to see some nice volume kick in here to break us out above this high that was put in on Sunday. We need to get above that ASAP. So whether this does it now and it goes higher here, or it needs to cool off, come back down, eventually want to see that big move up. So level to watch above for confirmation is really going to be this like 64.2 area. That will give you, on a 4 hour, that'll give you a market structure break to the upside that will indicate that we are now indeed trying to put in higher lows and higher highs here on an internal structure, at least internally within the larger structure. Okay. But not looking bad. Not looking bad. If you shorted down here, I feel bad for you, son. I got 99 problems, but shorting the bottom ain't one. We didn't take that. I'm in a good mood today, guys. I'm in a good mood. It's been a good day. It's been a good week. Drinking my preferred hot beverage, which is coffee. Had my electrolytes this morning. Talked a ton of smack on the Wolf Bitcoin Trader Talk Spaces this morning. It's been a good day. We looked at the market. We took some good trades, some good profitable trades today so far. And look, things are looking pretty good. You know, your boy's long off that low down here, baby. You know, we're long and strong off that low. Let's see if it sticks. If it doesn't, in all transparency, I did take a little short hedge right here, I guess you could say, at about like 63.8. I do have a short position from here, but I do also have my bigger short position from up here. What is it, like 75? I think I have it at. Where's 75? So like in here, somewhere in here, I've got short position from somewhere up here still. So look, I mean, this is what made me a little more willing to take a shot at this low, was the fact that I do have short exposure. So, you know, in all seriousness, that does play a big role in your willingness to play on a big dump like this into a key area. I mean, might I add, right? But still, regardless, it was a nasty move down, and getting in front of that definitely was a little bit dangerous. I didn't jump on the knife move itself, but I did pick up after it settled down a little bit. So I believe I entered on this move here, if I remember correctly. 59.8 right here on this move. So I didn't catch this one. Waited for this move here and this pullback. Got positioned here. So far, that's moving pretty good. And then again, I did take a short position up here after this kind of started stalling around here. So right now, I have a long and a short open. Stops have been tightened up. We're letting this thing just play out. I'd prefer that the short gets stopped out and that the long runs, but I'm okay if it goes the other way. So far, though, I mean, this thing is looking to me like it wants to do the dub, wants to do the nest dub down here, and then we'll see if it can come up here, up into the mid upper 60s. Which at some point, you know, I think once it gets up there, mid upper 60s, I do think we get this pullback. I think it rallies, gives us a pullback, a correction, probably back here into around the Sunday high, maybe even a little bit below that. And then the next level I'm looking for is last month's low, which is up here at like 72.5. Send it. And I mean, it's at that point, once it gets up to this previous month low, if it wants to go a little bit above that within that last month range, I've got no problem with that. So we'll see how that plays out. But this is looking pretty good so far. A big part of the reason also why we talked about the possibility of this going long, and we just covered this yesterday, is stablecoin dominance. Stablecoin dominance. This is not a chart to me yet that looks like it wants to have strong continuation to the upside. Stable coins came out, took that Feb high, did not get any kind of closure or acceptance above that level, immediately closed back below it, similarly to Bitcoin. And on Sunday, it actually had a nice little bearish retest, right? So where you came up, you swept this level up here, could not get it to stick, came back down below this red line, which is that red line is that February high. That's that previous quarter high, right? That red dotted line right here. Just wanted to clarify that. But you had a big move, right? Big move above Feb's high. Let's draw that again. So big move above Feb's high, little double toppy looking action. immediately comes back below that February high, that previous quarter high, and then even gave a bearish retest of that same level. Even gave a bearish retest of that same level right here. Nice little beautiful kiss of death, as some people like to call it. But yeah, that's what you got. You got nice little before it sent it lower. That was it. So overall, this is looking pretty good. And today, what we're seeing here today, check this out. Oh, no. What are we doing here? Don't be pushing. What the heck? Why won't that remove? There we go. Is my delete button not working? What the heck? Today, what we're seeing is we just swept that little retest level, but 4 hour could not close above it. Notice that even though you got a wick above it, your close is below that. So we still don't have any 4 hour, 6 hour, 8 hour, 12 hour. None of these time frames have managed to close back above that since it came back below, right? On the move up, you did get the daily close above again, right? You got a little double top looking thing. Bart Simpson to basically back below it, and we've not been able to get a close on the 4 hour or higher back above that. We haven't even had a close on the 2 hour, and we have not had a close even on the 1 hour. We've not had a close above that. So does that mean it can't push from here? No, it does not mean that. You are coming back down here to the top of this structure roughly. Could be that there's another push up. But again, I'm not thinking we're going to get any kind of real acceptance on stablecoin above this level, which would mean that even if BTC pulls back here, I don't think it takes out the low. Not yet. That could change if we see that this makes a move for the high and we get a daily close. If we get a daily close above that previous quarter or Feb high, then there may be something else happening. If we get a daily close above that, we currently don't have it. Currently do not have it. And look, we're running out of time. We do only have 3 hours and 37 minutes remaining on the daily candle. So this needs to hurry up. It needs to do it pretty soon if it's going to happen. If it's going to happen, it needs to be pretty soon. But this type of structure here, I mean, typically when you see this type of rounded, higher low type of structure like this, more often than not, even if it keeps pushing higher, at some point it is going to absolutely come back down and decimate all of this here. You want to know where we've had an example of that? I'll show you right now. There's your example of it. Even though this was moving up, right? Tell me this doesn't look exactly like that. Similar type of structure. Set a low, a bunch of higher lows here, nice and rounded. Boom. Decimated to the downside. Absolute destruction to the downside. Let's get a bar pattern of this thing here. Let's get a nice little bar pattern of this. So let's copy this. Go over here. Let's clean this chart up really quickly. Just for fun. Paste. And then if we were to squish that down, hold on. How come I can't squish this down? There we go. To make it fit roughly here within this structure. I mean, like something like that, right? Similar. It's not exact. I'm not trying to make it look exactly like that. Exactly, said the Moon Carl. But you get the idea. Similar idea, right? Nice rounded, heading higher, right? Eventually, these likely come down. Does that mean that it doesn't have, maybe it has another leg, right? Maybe it has another leg to go still. But to me, if we cannot get a daily close above here, then I think it's time for the hammer. I think you hammer it back down. How do you bonk? Can you rotate this? Can you invert this thing? How do you invert it to go the other way? Maybe not. Whoa. There we go. Bam. So maybe something like that's coming up. I don't know. It's something we're just gonna have to wait and see. We're just gonna have to wait and see, guys. All right. So that's where I stand, guys, as far as Bitcoin, as far as the corn, man. I'm sticking to this. Sticking to this. In my opinion, this is still potentially setting up. Even if this leg here ends up going down here again. Even if it ends up going down there again. Could it go below this low? Yeah, it could as well. Sometimes you do see the right side of the W take out the left. It absolutely could. But I think this idea, this general idea, sticks. So we'll see. We'll see. If I get stopped out, I'm going to get stopped out in profit. And I will just re-enter. I will just re-enter the trade if that ends up happening. Three hours and 37 minutes, 3 hours and 30 minutes. Yeah, somewhere around there. What do y'all think? Man, no comments today, man. It's what's going on? Everyone's so quiet on these Tuesdays because we're pumping and you're all sidelined. You all sold at 60K because you thought it was going to 40. You're sidelined and you're mad. You're mad because price is going up. Is that you? Is that you? I'm just teasing y'all. I'm just teasing y'all. Arrow, huh? Why is everyone obsessed with Arrow? Is Arrow even doing anything? Everyone wants to look at Arrow, but I mean, what's Arrow actually doing besides going lower? What I don't understand the obsession with Arrow. Like I clearly must be missing something. There must be something incredible about Arrow that people are always looking at Arrow and talking about Arrow. Look, I think Arrow needs to sweep these lows, man. I think Arrow needs to sweep these lows. Doesn't have to, but this would be the juiciest way to play Arrow is have it sweep all of this and then have it do something like that. But what is it? Yeah, like what is it about Arrow? Like why are people paying so much attention to Arrow right now? Will, did I get your message? No. Did you DM or where did you send a message, Will? I'm not seeing it. Let me reset. Nah, I don't see it, dude. I don't know where you would have messaged, but I don't see your message, Will. Man, these other charts are still looking pretty good, though. So far, they gave the pullback that we needed. They could pull back a little bit more from here. I mean, I don't know that they're absolutely done. They have room. They have room to go a little lower if they want. But these like 6-month, these 6-month charts look good. They look good. That still looks like it wants upside to me. It must not have sent here. I was just saying that Bitcoin at exactly where you said it would yesterday on stream. Yeah, we were talking about that. Yeah. You think we're gonna go to the high 60s now, but you kind of explained it already. Yeah, I am still I'm sticking to the same general idea that we had yesterday, which was it pulling back down here, 61-ish, and trying to get a bounce. If we can't get above this previous day low, though, like this is important context here, so let me hide that. If it gets rejected here, on the underside of this, yeah, it'll. This is where I'm curious to see if it just cleans up. No, I thought I drew a thing somewhere. I did not. Where is it? Well, I must have deleted it. But this is like, what if it does this, pulls back a little bit more, tries to get above here, but rejects, and then that's what sends it down. Initially, I mean, I'd be looking at least for a run on these first lows, the first little pullback after that pop. So about here, I think would make a lot of sense. At least a pullback to here, and then if it can bounce somewhere above this low, I do think that next move is going to have a little bit of a squeeze to it, and we should see that run up, something like that. Now, the risk though here is that this pullback, if it does something like this, gets rejected, that it could come and run that low. It is possible. It is possible this comes up, boom, runs this low, and maybe comes back down here, even close to 60K flat, somewhere down here, while not going below this, potentially. Like, this is the bullish case, right? Like, even if it rejects and it comes down, it does not go below these lows here. These lows still stick. But it comes down to that 60K level, which was the low from Feb, right? First quarter low. That could still be the case. That could still be the case. Now, if it's really bullish, it does this. If it's really bullish, buyers step in here after Asia comes online. If it dumps at the beginning of Asia, which is probably kind of what it's looking like here, US is running it up. It'll probably pull back a little bit during the gap. Maybe Asia runs it up like into the beginning of Asia or right at the beginning of Asia. Reverses back down. If it can set a higher low here relative to this one, right? If it can maintain a higher low structure here, then this should continue trying to do that until we run these highs, and then we'll see if that's the rejection up there, or if it can get enough strength to get a breakout higher. But so far, this thing is so far it's looking all right. This would be my primary expectation. Like, I'm gonna be an optimist and say I think there's still a chance that these lows stick and we don't go below those lows, and that we see some heat get turned up a little bit. We see the energy start to come in here, push this thing higher, work its way up. We'll see if that's the case. If it wants to come back down here, no problem, as long as we find a bounce below these lows, but above these. Right? So somewhere here above 60K. Even if it were to temporarily go quickly below 60, but then get bought up, I would not want to see another move down here to 59. Really don't want to even see a 59.5. So let's see what happens. There's a trading competition, paper trade for 25,000, zero risk. Oh, is that on perps permuto.capital for XCH? What does that have to do with Arrow though? Is that related to Arrow? Can I check Arrow? Oh my god, this guy. This guy. I'm gonna take back all the nice things I said about you, Will. So I don't know. Yeah, I feel like there needs to be one more push up here on this stablecoin dominance for sure. But again, like it shouldn't get any kind of closure above. Let's see what happens. Let's jump over to ETH. ETH. Yeah, see, Ethereum is looking a little weaker. It went below its last quarter low, but it has not been able to reclaim above that level. So Ethereum is looking a little weaker. I mean, ETH isn't that far from last year's low. So ETH is either going to run this low at some point, or it's going to leave this behind for later. That'll be interesting. XRP showing a little bit of strength, though. Look at that. XRP showing some strength here. On the weekly, ran previous quarter low, didn't close below it, right? We're seeing a theme here, didn't close below. On the daily, it did, though. So even though BTC did not, XRP did close below it, but it printed a nice little reversal here, got back above it. And interestingly enough, XRP is trying to stay above that last quarter low. It is working for it. It is absolutely working to stay above that. You guys see that, right? It went down, touched it. It is trying to stay above it. Look, I think there's a case here again. I think we even talked about it on the XRP chart, but did we not? Did we not put a path on here? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think we borrowed this, right? And we just simply said, look, we thought it could have happened up here. It's actually happening down here. I think I can't remember if I did this on this stream yesterday or if it was on the evening stream. But it's just doing this. It's doing the same thing that I'm potentially seeing on BTC, which is nice little sweep of the low, and then it's trying to now stay above it. Right? You had to move lower. You're now trying to stay above it, reclaim this quarterly low, and get a close above that. If it can do that, the structure to watch for an upside break is here. If this breaks above this, then you've now got a set of you now have a higher low, right? You got a low and a higher low, and you're going to be building a high and a higher high. So you have a nice little W. Even if this runs up here, sure, like maybe it runs around there last month low and then gets knocked back down, it doesn't matter. At that point, you've got higher lows. You can probably expect to continue putting in higher lows and higher highs here, at least up until this like last week high here, right? This is where all the volume is. Once it gets to here, you'd have to be a little bit careful. Once it comes up here, you could be getting slapped back down there. But this could be a very nice trade still. Like if you were looking to get long, currently, this is what it looks like. Invalidation is below the low. Your position is roughly where you are now. If you're brave and you're taking it now, that's where you're taking it. And you're looking to get this up to last week high. It's a little bit over a 2R trade, 17.5% to the upside for about an 8% risk. If you wait for this low to be set and for it to break structure to the upside, your entry is going to be up here closer to 118, but your invalidation is going to be wherever the low of this little right side of that W is. So if the low is in now, your invalidation is here. You're targeting the upside. Similar risk reward structure here. It's only about a 6% currently. It's about a 6%. Maybe you could tidy that up to like a 5.5%. But it's about a 6% risk for about a 13% move to the upside. And this is the safest way to play it, is to wait for this low to be set and for it to breach this little swing here. As soon as it gets above this swing here and you get a close above it, you can enter on the momentum. Stop goes below this right side of the W, whenever that finishes. And then even if it pulls back here, your invalidation is still here. You wait for it to pull back. As soon as it starts pumping back up above the next swing, right? And it confirms structure is still trending up by going above whatever the next swing will be. You can tidy this stop loss up to here, and you'll basically be at break even or pretty close to break even, and you'll be riding that up. Not a bad way to play this. Not a bad way to play it at all. Currently, it looks like this. Currently, it's a little riskier because we don't know. We don't know if this low, if this right side is in yet, because it hasn't taken out the swing high. We don't know. Aave, you want to see Aave? Yeah, we'll look at Aave. You've been hearing from way too many people that Ethereum is dead. If it is, what will be the next silver and crypto? Nah, ETH is not going anywhere, man. ETH is not going anywhere. ETH is just not, it's just not done correcting, but it's not going anywhere. It's too big, man. It's number 2 for a reason. It is a big dog. It ain't going anywhere. There's way too much liquidity on Ethereum. Most of the stable coin liquidity lives on Ethereum. Almost all of it, as a matter of fact. A big percentage of stablecoin liquidity lives on Ethereum. It's going nowhere. It's going absolutely nowhere. Let's look at Aave. Man, this is one that just cannot catch a break. Yeah, it's not a good looking chart. I wouldn't be interested in Aave until it comes down to these lows. That's just me. This thing still has too much downside momentum. So Aave, bring it down below this, and we'll look at it again through a fresh lens. It's just, in my opinion, it needs to go down here still. So it needs to go sub $50. It's just the risk to reward is not favorable here because of how close you are to this. At this point, you may as well just wait for it to come down here, see if it can, because it's probably going to sweep those lows. It's probably going to come below them. It could do something like that, then try and get back above and then kind of consolidate here for a little bit. Maybe have one final fake out below and then try and go or something like that. Right? Could do something like that. So it's going to need some time. I would not be looking at Aave yet. This to me is still that's too much. The way this is breaking down, like, look, this was like slowing down, and now you're accelerating. So I wouldn't be messing with it here. If for whatever reason this gets scooped up and it ends up looking like nothing, like a hammer, basically, like just a hammer here with long wick to the downside, very tiny body, and it closes roughly at the close of last month or above that, then yeah, maybe then we can talk about a scenario where it's going to pump from here. But right now, it's got some work to do. It would have to close, the month above this level up here, which is, where's the low? 78.09. So if we can get this next week to basically put it back above here and it closes the month above that, maybe we'll have something to look at. Maybe. But it's just so close to these lows here. Like, why wouldn't it just come down and clean up fully? So just be careful on it. At this point, it doesn't make sense to be super, super bearish on it because of how close it is to a potential bottom, but you do have to be cautious. ETH going below 1200. I think there's a yeah, I think there's a real potential. I think if Ethereum, if the entire market is still going lower, right? Like let's say BTC is catching a little bit of a bounce, but it's kind of just chopping up here back in the mid 60s, and then it just gets slapped back down, and we're going to put in a new leg. And let's say Bitcoin is going to go to 50K or even into the 40s, then yeah, I think it's almost inevitable that you're going to see probably sub $1,000 Ethereum. Good chance it can dip down here close to 1,000. At definitely sub 1,400. It should definitely go below last year's low. It should sweep that. But again, it's like kind of like Aave. It's like you're going to be so close to some big lows. Why wouldn't we just be waiting for it to clean that up and then try and go higher? And then as far as upside targets, I mean, anything's possible, right? Anything's possible. I would just take it a level at a time. Like, let's see if we can recover it. And let's see if we can get back up to, oh man, 2,500. See if we can get back up to 4 or 5K. If it can break out above here, I mean, it's got room to the upside. If it can break up, it's got room to the upside. Because what might be happening here, like this is where Ethereum here. We'll do some moon math. Let's say that Ethereum, does something like this, and then does something like this, and then it has the final capitulation that takes that out or whatever, and then it tries to move higher, right? Let's say it's going to chop around here still, generally within like a range like this, right? Doing something in here for a little while longer. Well, what I would be looking at that point is you could do a fib extension based on, how do I want to do this? Let's do it off of no, here, hold on. Let's do it off the fixed range volume profile. Obviously, we don't have this future price data yet, but let's just assume that let's assume it chops around here. You build a POC inside of this range, right? Your point of control. I've got a fib tool that lets me do like an approximation called a swing target. So then we'd be looking for Ethereum sometime in the coming years up here. Something like that. So that's not, it's not a bad move. But again, like this could be a long period, and at some point it may need to take these lows out. It may need to chop around, take these lows out. May even need to come a little bit lower. But depending on this, we'll have to play it level by level. But a move up to something like that. And then let's say something like this does happen here, right? Where August, here, let's make this maybe a little more realistic in terms of timing wise. Like, let's say you put a move down here towards the end of the year. I don't know. If you have some kind of structure that you're building down here along with that. Like, let's say you did something like this. I mean, a swing target up here isn't really, it's not unrealistic if this is the kind of structure that you're in, right? This kind of chops around, finds a low at some point at the end of the year, into the beginning of next year, down here at the bottom of a channel like this, near the bottom of the horizontal range, makes a move up towards the top of the channel. That's pretty damn in line with like what I would expect to see. But again, it could mean that this needs to do like more of this first. It could need to do quite a bit more of this, and then it can work on a move like that, right? I mean, I don't know that it missed the last bull market, man. I mean, it's all with how you choose to see it, right? I mean, people say it missed the last bull market, but did it? off of the 2022 low to the high up here, it went up 460%. You know, it didn't take out a prior high, but it still had a 460% move bottom to top. And then if you bought the dip last year, which a lot of us did, a lot of the wolf, the guys that jump on the wolf trading panel, we were talking about this low and we bought that low. If you took that, I mean, that was a 250% move. You went from $1,400 ETH to $5,000 ETH. So I think it's the problem here is like people say, oh, it didn't have a bull market or it missed the last bull market. Why? Because everyone's comparing it to this. But you can't just say that it needs to do the exact type of move that it's done every single cycle. Bitcoin is an example of that. Bitcoin hasn't had the same parabolic moves. And actually, if you look at Bitcoin, watch, let's pull up BTC. Hold on here. BTC all time. Okay. Even if you look at BTC, guys, I mean, it's you don't get the same type of moves all the time, right? I mean, check this out. Bitcoin back here, low to high, 62,000%, right? From 2011 to 2013. And then here, you know, you only had a 12,000%. You imagine how many people said, this didn't really even have a bull market. We did 62,000% last time. We only got 12,000. This wasn't like a real bull market, right? And then you had people here off of this low to this high. It's like, man, we only got 2,000% this time. You imagine from 62,000% gain to 12,000% gain to only a 2,000% gain. And then this last one, only a 700% gain bottom to top, right? But all of these have been bull markets. Every single one has been a season of outperformance to the upside with massive gains. Ethereum's the same thing. It's just we can't compare it back to this. This was an anomaly. This was a one period in time, and it's going to have that like that. Sometimes it'll perform better than others, but still, guys, from the bottom, you had an $800, almost $900 Ethereum that went to $5,000. You know. So it definitely was different. It definitely does not look great that it's basically just flat, but there's a lot of meat on the bone. If you're just buying the bottom of this range and then selling it at the top, dude, this is still a beautiful, beautiful range, you know? And at some point, like this to me actually makes me bullish in that, you know, either this is distributing up here from people that bought it down here for dirt cheap that are, you know, they're taking advantage, they're selling, right? They're selling their positions over here. But this also tells me that new buyers are stepping in and absorbing that selling. Because if they weren't stepping in and absorbing this selling, these guys selling would actually look more like this, right? It would be on what we call like a bull flag, right? But it'd be making lower highs and lower lows while it distributed out. And then at some point it would base out and then start going back up. So the fact that this is actually just going sideways just tells you that the market is actually absorbing a lot of the selling here. It's maintaining structure, which is not bad. So, but again, when you have something like this, like to me, this is telling me that at some point there needs to be a liquidation event. There needs to be a little cascade that scares people out before you can put that next leg up. 100%. Yeah, I think the definitions of what we call like the cycles or the bull markets are going to change a little bit in terms of like, you know, like it doesn't necessarily need to break all-time high, right? To be considered a bull market. Bull market is just going to be a period of outperformance. Because I think the reality is like we could have a period where, let's say this. Okay, this is going to sound so bearish. It really is, but it's just me just being neutral and stoic about it. Even in Bitcoin, we saw that it didn't really get a significant move higher in like when you're looking at this in terms of the parabolic price action. Like it was, you know, under 1,000% bottom to top compared to all prior cycles were massive gains, right? Could there be a period where Bitcoin also just has a flat, like it comes back up and it puts in a double top. Yes, there's still going to be a bull market in there. From top to bottom, there will still be money to be made. And there be a point in the future where Bitcoin actually comes back below a prior cycle low for the first time and puts in a lower low. Yes. And there will still be a bottom and there will still be a top. There will always be, like, everything is this ebb and flow. Bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom, top. Even if it does this, even if it were to do this, you're still going to have bull markets, right, in the pops. And then you'll have bear markets on the way down. So I don't think we can get super stuck on it always needing to put in a new high. I think we need to just understand that this thing moves in a cyclical way, and that there is the possibility that at some point it needs to cool off a little bit before it can go higher. But even inside of that, there will still be periods where the market is generally trending up, and then there'll be periods where the market is generally trending down. And it'll be our job to try and read those as best as possible so that we can buy lows as best as possible and sell highs as best as possible. And if you're someone who's just going to DCA and hold and you're not willing to sell any of these, even if we, do have a flat, like imagine we have a flat double top type of market in the future, and you're still thinking that you're just going to hold through that, cool. But at least you understand the way the market is going to move, so that you'll understand when the best times to really add to that DCA strategy might be, right? So that when it starts going up in a massive way to some of these numbers that we've been waiting on forever, you bought at the best opportunity possible, and you weren't sniping the tops every single time, right? Let me see what you tagged me in here. Just try. Yeah, let me know though. Just try. Is that built on base, or is that tied to Arrow in any way? I guess that was my question. I saw your tag just now. One of these guys tagging me in. Oh. What is Ash posting here? Let's see. BTC 2 hour. Oh, you son of a gun. You better not. You better not, Ash, if you're watching this. I don't need any more downside. Send it higher. That is pretty interesting, though, that fractal. I think you're only going to get two drop levels on this one, Ash. Hopefully. All right, let me see. Make sure I didn't miss anyone's comments here. I don't think I have. Let's see here. All right. Well, dang it. Come on now. Yeah, if this thing rejects up here though, we will need to be careful on that move lower in case we get that move lower. I'm gonna be an optimist on this one. I'm gonna be a bull on this one. I want the move higher. Need it higher from here. Let's see if we get it. Guys, I think that about does it. We've been on for the hour. Let me check what is coming up on Wolf later today. Nothing. Okay. Nothing else. Done. Done on this Tuesday. Done today. Trader Talk tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, followed by a Bitcoin mining space at 1:30 Eastern. And then we'll be back here on another crypto market analysis show at 2 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. And then tomorrow we'll close out the day at 7:30 Eastern with a macro BTC and ETFs show. But guys, if you enjoyed this type of content, if you're hanging out with me today, if you're watching us chop up these charts, and you enjoy this type of stuff, if you think what we're doing here at Wolf Bitcoin is valuable in terms of these TA sessions and these chart analysis sessions, make sure you're giving Wolf Bitcoin a follow. Make sure you're liking these streams, you're commenting, you're giving them a thumbs up, you're subscribing on YouTube, you're reposting them, you're sending them to your friends. Help us out, man. Help us out. Let's get a little bit more visibility here. We're just trying to grow the community, grow the channel, grow the content. We're supporting our amazing sponsors like Public, which you can check out at public.com/wolf. And we're just trying to, we're doing it for the people, man. We're doing it for y'all. We're creating as much content as we can here for the community that shows up and supports us, that's on the spaces every single day, on the Trader Talk spaces, the macro spaces, that is jumping on the streams. We see y'all. We appreciate y'all. Couldn't do it without y'all, man. Couldn't do it without y'all. So with that, guys, signing off. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Let's see what the market gives us going into the close of today's session. Let's see how the overnight looks, and we'll be back. We'll be back tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern. We'll follow up. We'll see if things play out how we're expecting that they potentially could here. All right, guys. With that, we'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.